Welcome to Posca Club. In today's video, what we're going to try and draw is a character called Naruto. So it's the one character that I get asked to draw quite a lot. So I thought it's about time we had a little stab at it, see how we get on, shall we? So here are the colours that you're going to need if you want to participate as well. So I'm going to use apricot as the main colour for the skin. Then we're going to go for yellow and orange as the two hair tones. So a dark tone and a light tone for the hair. Coming into like a headband bit, I'm going to use a deep grey and just a regular grey there. Into the eyes, sky blue and light blue for the eyes. Again, just a dark tone and a light tone. You can see that I've got dark tone and a light tone for just about everything apart from the skin. I'm going to keep that just one flat colour. White, I'm going to go for a fat white. These are all 5Ms, fat white 5M, and then a 3M for black when I'm putting the outlines on, and a 1M as well, just in case I want to put any little tiny details in there as well. So they're the colours I'm using. If you haven't got exactly the same colours, don't panic. Just use similar kind of colours or something. Go crazy with it. If you want to do a green Naruto, that's going to be absolutely fine. Okay, what we're going to do first is let's go and grab that orange. The orange that we're using for the hair, for the darker shades of the hair. We're also going to use it for the for a little bit down the bottom of the character's collar. So just down the bottom here, what we want to do is put two like little rectangular shapes. So we want to leave a bit of a gap in there, which is where the zip is going to be. Let me just zoom in a little bit closer on that, shall I? There we go. Leave a little gap in there for where the zip is going to be, but then kind of just bring out two rectangles for a collar. Can you see that all right? Do I need to? There you go. You can kind of see that better when it's shaded a bit more. So do that with the orange first, then go and grab your white, and we're going to do the same kind of thing. We're just going to keep on building it out either side. We're going to add like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 extra bits until we get right close to the edge here. Okay, so like this, let's start in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just building it out. So we've got a bit of a shape coming out with that collar. Let's do the same kind of thing on the other side. So 1, 2, getting a little bit thinner as we get closer to the edge. See how this one is quite fat, and then as we get closer to the edge, it's a little bit thinner. We've got the grey, we'll add a little bit more tone and shape to that with the grey later, but that's great. That's a brilliant start for the collar of our character. Now we're going to go and grab the apricot. We're going to draw the rest of the face in this apricot colour. Okay. Now what you kind of want to do is you want to go up a certain distance and decide that this is where the headband is going to go. And we're going to go up to probably about this point. Look. There you go. So across to there. So you see those 2 points? They're kind of I'm using the cardboard to make sure they're along the same line. You can see how far up I'm going, so it's almost like a square kind of shape we're getting in there. And those 2 points, this is where the headband and the head all kind of join together. So what we're going to do just here is we're going to put a curve that goes from one side to the other. So go up like that. Bit of a curve. This is going to be the start of the headband. The bottom part of the headband, I should probably call it. That might be easier. Then what we're going to do is from the side there, we're going to bring a couple of lines down. These lines are going to go almost directly down, and then we're going to curve in for the chin, and we're going to aim towards this part of the collar. Okay, so like this, let's just bring it down first, and then you're going to curve in towards the middle part of that collar like that. Same on this side. Let's just bring it down a little bit and then curve in towards the middle part of the collar. And we're using the collar as a bit of a guide for our symmetry. Quite a lot, in fact, there. Awesome stuff. Right, once you've got that in, let's go and throw some other shapes in. Let's go into the head a little bit more. So that headband, yeah, what we're going to do is just going to extend the bottom part of that headband, just extend it out just slightly, that way and that way. So continue in that line, because in here we're going to have some hair, but coming out of that line there, we're going to draw the ear shape in. So let's go and draw an ear in. We'll go up, round, give it a little corner there, and then start bringing it back in like that. Something similar on the other side. So up, we're going to round, it's almost down first, then we're going to bring it in, and then with a little loop for the bottom of the ear. Just get a rough shape in there. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. Get a rough shape in. And you can, again, just look in using the lines, the natural lines that I'm getting in the cardboard to try and get a little bit of symmetry. So the bottom of the ear is at the same point. Top of the ear is roughly at the same point. It's not perfect, but it's close enough that it will work for us. Okay, let's go and put the headband, the rest of the headband in. So, you know those the extensions that we put in on that headband? We're now going to go up. Let's go up this way, look. Just about there. And up to about there. Again, just looking at that line to keep it roughly symmetrical. This part is going to be the headband. We're going to put the headband in, but there's going to be quite a bit of hair going over that. We might change the shape of that headband a little bit, give it a bit more finesse. This is just some like rough guidelines we're throwing in at the moment. So let's go and put that next part in. So we're going to go from here to here with a big old curve all the way across the top. Oops, let's go about there. And I think that'll do. That'll do for guidelines. Everything else we're going to put in with the actual colours. Oh, in fact, no, sorry, we haven't put the mouth in or the eye. So yeah, one thing I was going to say is one thing to really try and get right with this manga style is the symmetry in there. I'm going to do a little hack that is going to stop us from having to bother too much about symmetry, mainly with the eyes. So we're going to have one eye blinking and one eye open. That's the plan, okay? So let's go and put in. Let's go and put in the mouth first. So down the bottom here, let's put in a curve for the top lip. About there, that looks alright. Curve for the top lip. And then we're going to bring that all the way round as a big like D shape for the bottom lip. So just a gentle curve across the top and then a big loop round. Okay, let's go and put the eyeball in. So I'm going to do this next bit. I'm going to do it with the white pen because we are kind of working in the eyeball here. All we're going to do is we're going to outline roughly where the iris is going to go. Okay, so just up here somewhere, let's go and put in an iris about here, look. So you look at the position of the mouth, like the edge of the mouth, we're kind of going straight up from the edge of the mouth, putting in a circle, nice and wide there. Don't forget that is the iris, so the eyeball is going to be a little bit bigger in there as well. But we'll come back to that in a little while, okay? Right, let's go and grab the yellow and start putting some shapes in for the hair, shall we? As soon as we've got the hair in, everything else is going to kind of fall into place a little bit more. So let's start with the easy bit of the hair down the bottom here. We're just going to do like a little W shape. So let's go for just there. Little W shape on either side. That little bit of hair that's sticking out there. We are also going to have a little bit of hair sticking out just under the headband, coming out into the ear. So let's put a little, oops, just smudge that bit, be careful of smudging. Let's put a little V shape in here as well. on either side. Eyebrows we'll come to later. We'll add those in when after we've put the eyes in, because it'll be easier to position the eyebrows once we've got the eyes in. Okay, up in the top part of the head now, let's go and put some hair in there. So we're going to have it kind of all overflowing the top of the headband here. So let's go for our first piece of hair. Watch this. So let's go for up here, big old V shape. Just there. Just there. It's just big old V shape overlapping that part of hair there. Or that part of the headband is what we're going for. Over on the other side, let's do another one. Let's bring it in. Let's put a W shape in on this side though. So maybe about there, just above the eye. Let's bring in a W shape. Once we've got those bits in, it's going to make it a little bit easier for us to go and put the rest of the hair in. We're going to go for some big V shapes, upside down V shapes. A lot of them are going to go off the page on here. Okay, so let's go right up here first. Do a big old V shape. So from about here, it's going to go off the page to about there, and just repeat those roughly where you'd see these V shapes. Look, let's put another one over here. It's going off the page again. This one might just stay just on the page, look. Let's bring it in either side. I think that's looking alright. So you see these little lines in here, either side. Then underneath those we'll put in another little triangle. Little V shape on its side, just have another little bit of hair sticking out there. Okay, I think that looks okay for us for the time being. Right, let's whip in and start putting some colour on this character, shall we? Let's go and put some shadow in the hair first. So the hair is going to be yellow and orange. We're going to put all the shadows in the hair because it's right at the top. All the shadows in using the orange pen. So first little shadow. You see this massive bit we've got coming over here. Let's just take a line from there, like that. Just tuck it up to the headband. I'll colour that in so you can see what it's going to look like all the way across there. Look. Now I don't tend to teach much in the way of manga style. It is quite a tricky little style to get just right. It's not an easy thing to do. So give this your best shot. If it doesn't kind of work out, don't panic about it. It's no biggie. We're just going to give it our best shot today. Underneath, all this side around here is going to be orange as well. So you got this bit kind of sticking out here, that bit there. So let's pretend that in between there was a line coming to about there, and then all the hair under this point, apart from that bit that we're going to put as a highlight, all of this section, let's go and colour that in with this darker colour. Around the ear, get in there. Doesn't matter too much if you make any mistakes in here. This bit over here will keep that we do all of this in the darker orange. So I'm using a bit of salvaged cardboard, so the edge is a little bit rough there. Don't worry too much about that. Let's go and throw some orange over on this side. Going around the headband. Try not to do what I just did, which is priming the pen on your canvas. Especially on a warm day, it does tend to spill out quite a lot if it's warm. Right. Should we do this bit? Let's do half of this triangle up. So we'll do the right hand side of that little bit of hair. The left hand side we'll do yellow because we will see a little bit of sunlight hitting that bit. Then we've got that W shape underneath the ear. Definitely all orange in there. There we go. Like I said, for the time being, we're just chucking all the colour in. We're not thinking too much about it, just chucking it in. We'll add a bit of finesse, we'll change shapes a little bit later, make sure it's just right. You don't need to get it just right yet. First half of any piece of artwork is just chucking the colour on. And then kind of judging it and making decisions as you go along. Right, these two orange bits down here, let's go and put some orange in there. So another thing to remember as well when you're colouring in, just press nice and lightly. You don't have to press dark, or heavy, sorry. You don't have to press heavy in order to get a darker colour coming out. With Posca pens, you just have to press gently, let the paint lay on the canvas. You're more likely to get a smoother finish as well if you press gently, because you're not creating those channels where the cardboard is seen through the paint. So yeah, it's one of those things you might just have to remind yourself of every now and then. Just press nice and gently on your artwork. Right, that's looking good. Shall we move on? Let's go and draw the next part now. Let's go and put the yellow in the hair. So we're going to go back up top again. Should be all nice and dry now. Back up top. Everything else that is in that hair section, we're going to colour in yellow this time. So right up here, what I'll probably do is just give it a few little outlines first. Look. So right up here, look, remember that bit? Let's go around the edge, get down to the headband, colour all of that in. Now we've done our guidelines in apricot. That's mainly so that it's relatively easy to cover over with the yellow. You can still see it a little bit there. Yellow is a notoriously transparent colour. Really difficult to get it nice and opaque. But what I'm going to do with mine is at some stage in this video I'll just give it a second coat. I'll time lapse that bit so you don't have to watch me colouring in again. But yeah, that's the main way I get around any kind of transparency in the colour. Just go and give it a second coat when you get a chance. Make sure it's dry. Sometimes you want to leave it until the next day before you give it a second coat. Here we go. So let's keep on moving across. We're going across the top of that headband. That little bit of hair there, look. Quite like the way this sits on the cardboard with lots of overlap. If you haven't got that happening on yours, don't forget you can always cut your cardboard down a little bit later on. But essentially, you know, most of these triangles are just going to go, you know, the two lines are going to meet each other anyway. So you should be able to just get the whole piece of hair done. Right, let's get into this bit, another bit that's just going over this apricot line. Another bit of hair flopping over that hairband. I'm sure some Naruto fans will be None too pleased with me calling it a headband or a hairband, but never mind, it'll be alright. Right, that's looking good. This bit just looks a little bit, I'm just going to shape that a little bit better. There we go. Yeah, that looks better to me. We've got this bit of hair here, just this little tiny bit poking through there. Remember we said we're going to do the other side of this bit as well. So there's our little sideburns all done. Awesome. We're getting there. Let's go and work on some grey next. So give that hair a few seconds to dry. Go and grab your deep grey. We're going to put the headband in with the deep grey. Worth noting that the character does have like a metal thing going across there, so we're going to draw that in as well. It's going to be slightly under this piece of hair. And let's go and just add that in. So we've got a shape like that and a shape down the bottom. Just bring that line in. See, I'm following the curve of the headband as much as possible, and then like I say, it's over this side, it's just going to be sitting under the hair. Might even be, what do you reckon, just sitting under the hair this side as well. Let's do that like that. That looks alright. Okay, once you've got that kind of like curvy rectangle in there, the rest of that headband needs to be in this darker colour. Leave that middle bit. That middle bit is going to be in the lighter colour, the lighter grey. And we will probably use black on top of here to create a few little shadows and things. Around that hair. We are going to put some black outlines on this, so don't worry too much about it. Let's also just give it a little bit of shape. Look, watch this. As we come out of there, rather than just go straight down, let's have it a little bit wonky. Look. See that shape? So rather than just being a straight downwards line, it's just swollen at the bottom, swollen at the top. So try and add that in as well. If you haven't done that on the other side, let's go and do that on the other side. A little swollen bit. Awesome stuff. The edges, let's go and round those off a little bit. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, let's we'll give that a bit of time to dry. Let's go down into the face now. We're going to give our character a bit more of an eyeball in there, but we're also going to then colour in the rest of the character in apricot. So go and grab your apricot again, and let's go and give this character a bit more of an eyeball first, and we'll colour in everything. So I'll zoom in even more on this bit. There we go. Actually, already there. There we go. That's better, isn't it? And so this is how the eyeball is going to look. What we're going to do is just going to take a little line going across there first. Little line going across there. That becomes our little cheekbone. Then across the top, we're going to have a little triangle, a little rounded off triangle coming into the corner of the eye here. So just like that. But then as we go over to the other side, we're going to take a longer jump. Longer line like that. And then bring it down. And then this bit becomes the iris. This bit here, we'll colour that in white later. And that will become the eyeball. That's good though. That's a pretty decent shape. Let's go and outline and colour in the rest of the head. So we're going to get into the ears now. This apricot. This is where you can shape loads of bits in your character just by cutting out colours. So just there with that bit of hair. You can tweak the shape of it a little bit just by putting this apricot over the top of the orange, over the top of the yellow. If you need it. You might not need it, you might be okay, you might have got your lines just right. But yeah, a little bit of tweaking as you're going along on this bit. The other thing worth noting is that, you know, we're doing this quite fast. You probably want to take a little bit more time, let bits dry before you go over again. But in order to keep us moving quite quick, I like to draw quite quick, which means most of my artwork is just on the edge of being dry. See how we're just giving that bit down there a little bit of shape. It's the collar and the jacket. Just allowing that. Whoops, can't see that, can you? Let me zoom out a bit. Just there, look. You see how I'm just giving that little bit of shape down the bottom, allowing the this orange collar just to bounce up a little tiny bit there. Okay, let's get into this other ear. Awesome. Okay, we're making good progress on this. Let's go and add some more colours in. Let's go and put some grey in. So we're going to put grey, the lighter of the greys. So we used the dark grey already. We're going to use the lighter of the greys now. And what we're going to do up here is we're going to leave a little band just here, which we'll colour in white, and then put all the rest in grey. We're going to try and get a little bit of a chrome effect going on. So imagine this bit, that bit there, that's going to be left, or going to be coloured white in a little bit. The rest of it, let's go and throw in some grey. Not forgetting that as you're putting these shapes in, you're putting these colours in. If things look a little bit wonky, then let it dry, change the shape of it, use the colours that you're using to move lines backwards and forwards until you get it just right. The only thing you've got to remember really is just making sure that the paint is dry before you start moving it. So for example, if I wanted to move this up a little bit, I'll just get this darker grey and just start shaving bits out the bottom until it moves up. So look at this bit. This bit is just a bit too rounded off for me, so I'm going to bring this down. Watch this. So we're going to take that. Give it a much sharper corner there. That looks much better, like that. Okay, the other bit we're going to do with the grey, we're just going to add a little bit round here at the down at the collar. So let me go right down here. And we're going to imagine that we've got some shadows popping up in here. So again, the light's coming in from this direction, so you're not going to see much in the way of shadows here. We're going to probably keep all of that quite white. Let's just put in some little tiny lines just there. Maybe a little bit thicker on this bit, look. But then as we get over to this side, let's make these lines even thicker. So let's go like that. Coming about halfway in. big old shadows. And in fact, on that last one, I might just colour the whole thing in, leaving a little slither of white in there, so I know roughly where the black line needs to go when I come to outlining. That's the only reason I'm leaving that little slither of white in there. There we go. Let's colour that in down the bottom as well. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. Fabulous. Right, let's stick with that grey. We're just going to put in a little tiny bit around where the teeth are going to go on this character. So down at the bottom here, all we'll do is just a little line in just here. Look, a little line in just there. Not a lot in there, just a little tiny curve in on both sides. That's just going to be the outside edge of the teeth there. I think that's probably all we're going to need for the time being. In fact, no, let's get down the bottom here. Look, do this shape for me as well. Two little curves either side. And what they will eventually become is the back of the bottom set of teeth, and these will become the side of the top set of teeth. It will all make a lot more sense when we put the white bits in later, but for the time being, put in something similar to that, and then, like I say, when we put the white bits in, it'll all make sense. If it doesn't look right, then you can tweak it afterwards till you get it just right. There we go. That's what it should be looking at. It's starting to become a little bit more recognisable now. Grab your white pen. Should we do white? No, let's do a bit of blue first. Let's go and do some work on the iris. So we've got a light blue and a sky blue in there. What we're going to do is we're going to colour the whole iris in with a light blue first. Then we'll put a little bit of sky blue across the top. Okay. So light blue first, just colour the whole iris. Bring it in a little bit. You still want to see a little bit of the white on there. But the whole iris in with that light blue. When that's dry, we'll put a little bit of sky blue in, then we'll put a pupil in, then we'll put some reflections in. It's going to look really nice. Okay, you got that. Now we can pick up the white. Let's go and put some white in on our character. So up top here, remember that band that we had, that we left? Let's go and throw some white in there. And like I say, with the hope that that's going to look like a bit of chrome. We'll see how we get on with that. In fact, let's put a little white line going across the top. Watch this. Let's just try this out. Let's put a little white line just going across the top there. And we will put a little light grey line down the bottom there as well. We're trying to make it look like it's embossed. That's what we're going for just there. Just seeing a little bit that I've missed. There we go. A couple of bits I've missed over here as well. Okay, let's move down. So carry on with that white. Stick with that white for the time being. Let's go and put some white in this, in the rest of this eyeball. In that side. In that side as well. That's looking pretty good. Down the bottom, remember how we said about the teeth, those weird shapes in the teeth? Let's see if we can nail those teeth now. So remember the top set of teeth, we did those little curves coming in. That's because they're for the fangs. So starting right at the tip. So we're going to go over quite a lot of that grey line. Starting right at the tip again. we're adding in that fang kind of shape. Do the same on the other side, so starting right at the tip, but you want to see a little bit of the grey coming out. Look, add in that fang kind of shape. But before we make it look too creepy, let's put in a line going all the way across. Let's go just there. Look. We'll do something similar underneath. We're just going to cut out a little bit of these two shapes. And what we're going to do here, with that collar in with the white, so we're cutting out these little grey shadows that we've added in, chucking on that white area, just little tiny shadows on this side. Little thin shadows, getting a bit thicker as we get to that section. Over on the other side, shadows are becoming much bigger. Yeah, that looks alright. That works for me. One last little bit then. One last little bit of colouring in. Down here in the collar is to grab that grey again, because I've got to colour the zip in grey. So this little section in there, let's go and put in a little bit of grey. It's the lighter of the two greys that we're using today. Let's go and throw that in. And I'll tell you what else we didn't do as well. I forgot to mention this at the start of the session, was the tongue colour. Don't think we picked out a tongue colour. So let's go and grab like a coral pink or a red or something like that. And go and throw a tongue in. So the tongue is just going to be a curve. In there. Little oval. Using that bottom set of teeth as your guide for how that all sits together. So throw in that little tongue. Let's move back up now. We're going to put in the darker part of the iris. So let's go for a shape like this. Go for a curve all the way across. Look. Colour that top bit in. We'll see how that looks. I think that'll be okay. Last little line, and then it's time to take a break and get your artwork dry. But last little line up top here. Remember we said we're going to take that light grey. We're going to do a line all the way across the bottom here, in order to try and make that look a little bit more 3D, like it's embossed a little bit. I think that'll work really nicely. So at this stage, you kind of want to be thinking, do you want to give everything a bit of a second coat? It's up to you on whether you enjoy just the drawing process or whether you want it to have that real sharp, nice finish. I kind of just enjoy the process of drawing, so I'm not too worried about giving it a second coat. But yeah, go and do that if you want to. But you can definitely see how it's starting to come alive. You can definitely see how you could quite easily mirror that eye over on the other side and do something similar. like I say, it will make it a bit tricky to get the symmetry just right. So we are just going to put that eye as a closed eye for today. So we're pretty much done with the colouring. I am going to give mine an extra coat. It doesn't look too bad on camera, but in the flesh, some of those colours just look a little bit too transparent for me. So I'll time lapse this next bit. So if you're giving yours a second colour of paint, then feel free to pause at this session. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2 or 3 seconds with a completely recovered piece of artwork. Okay. Okay, that's looking much better. I'd still say the yellow probably needs another 1 or 2 coats, or I'd spend more time actually priming my pen, pressing the nib down, making sure the fresh paint is in the nib, because it's still coming through a little bit transparent, but it will do for the time being. I quite like how that's looking. You can tell which character it is anyway. That's the important part. Okay, what we're going to do now is let's go and start adding on some of the black outlines for our characters. So I'm using a 3M. I've also got a 1MR handy. So just a 1M, yeah, just a PC 1M. 3M and a 1M for my outlining. Probably going to do most of it with a 3M, but then I'll just jump into a 1M in case I need any thinner bits doing. So yeah, let's go in and do it, shall we? We're going to let's start at the top, work our way down, because we're less likely to smudge things. Giving it enough time, just make sure everything's completely dry. That tongue was the last bit I did, so it's still just a little bit damp, but I think I can avoid that as I go around these lines. So I will zoom in quite a lot on this bit. There we go. I'm going to start up here in the hair, work our way down. So all I'm going to do is so I've got this character kind of overlapping the edge of the cardboard, so I'm just going to go around all these edges now. I'm going to give them 1 coat, or 1 line I should say. But then, as is typical with me, I will go twice over it. I like wonky lines. I know that doesn't really work with this manga and anime style. They do the smooth lines, but I'm definitely going for wonky and fat lines. So I'm kind of almost building these, using a 3M pen, almost building this line up into a 5M kind of thickness. But I kind of like the way that you can get this wonkiness kind of going quite a lot in there by building up with a 3M rather than drawing straight in with a 5M. And you'll get little bits like that. Look, you see where that's all scrunched up. Let me zoom out a bit so the logo doesn't get in the way. See where the corners all kind of scrunched up and messed up. I don't worry about that. Just draw over it the best you can. Doesn't matter if it's a bit tatty over there. Most people's focus is going to be on the middle part of the artwork anyway, so people will miss how rough it looks around there. And if it does look rough, just own it. Own it completely. Okay, let's bring it down. We are going to put some extra little lines kind of flicking in and out of this hair just to give it a bit more kind of depth. But for the time being, let's move down. Let's go and put this bit of hair in here. Do you remember this bit? We've got some bits that are overlapping this headband. So we've got this bit and we've got a couple of bits over here as well. So let's go and do this bit first. Now, important to remember that the hair is both the orange and the yellow bit. So let's start up about here. Look, round that. And then up on the orange side, just a little tiny flick over on that headband there. Another great tip is if you struggle to flick off the lines and get really thin lines on the edge of your artwork, just do dots and dashes like I've just done there. So the rest of the line can be thick and wonky. You get away with that, but then just do some little dots and dashes towards the end of the line. As long as you keep that consistent, as long as you do it several times within your artwork, it's going to work okay. It's going to work out okay. Okay, that looks great just there. Let's go and work on this side. So same kind of thing. Look, just starting up here. Maybe start with a dot and the dash, Then go into your solid line. As we come up this bit's in the front, so just follow that line up there. Just forget about everything else that's going on in there, just follow that line up there a little bit. Then we've got this extra little bit of hair. We can do the same again, just bring it down to the tip as you come up, just follow that line. And it, again with the dots and dashes, keep it kind of random. It's not, when I say dots and dashes, I don't mean like dash dot dot. I don't mean like Morse code. I mean just kind of giving it a broken line full of dots and dashes. Some fat dots, thin dots, long dashes, short dashes, all in a random order. Like I say, it will just make your artwork look a lot nicer. In fact, let's go and do a few of those across the top as well. So specifically, right, these bits, these lines here and here, we just want to bring those in. Just there. And just there. See how we're going to kind of get little bits of overlap happening here now with that. So it definitely looks like this piece of hair is in front of this piece, which is in front of this piece, and then this piece is going to be right at the back. So let's bring this bit to the front. That's all it needs. Just a little flick, a little crease here and there. That'll do there for the time being. We might go back in there and put some little orange bits back in, make that hair look a bit more interesting, but for the time being, let's move down to this headband. We have got a logo that we're going to put in there with a grey, but let's go and do the outlining first. So we'll start off with that bit across the top. Now you see where these little kind of overlaps on either side, where they're really important now, because it just makes it look like our character's hair is now just folded over onto that headband. Let's go round this metal bit. Now we're going to go around the whole of the outside edge. So I'll give it one line, then I'll give it another line, make it wonky. Underside as well. Again, keeping it wonky, I'm not fussed about. This is something that some people that watch my videos, I once got a bit of advice on how to draw smooth lines from somebody who watches my my shorter videos, my time-lapse videos on YouTube and Facebook, and they were giving me some advice on how to draw smooth lines. I know how to draw a smooth line, but I like teaching people how to draw wonky lines and owning wonky lines, just because for me they're a lot more fun to draw. So don't ever feel like obliged to have to go and draw smooth lines, even though most people think that's the ultimate, that's the aim, because for me it's not. Okay, let's go around the underside of the headband now. So we're just going here and around this side as well. All the way across. I like to give it one line, then go and give it another line, just in case there's any bits I've missed. This wonky line can go and pick up any bits that kind of missed first time round. Keep that 3M primed. Oh, I've done it a bit too much now. It's pouring the paint out now. There we go. But what we are going to do under here with this black is we're going to add a few little shadows as well. We want to make this piece of hair look like it's kind of poking out a little bit more. So watch this. This is where we're going to put the shadow in, just coming down here. Up like that. Let's colour that bit in. Nice and light with the 3M, slow with your colouring in so that the paint flows out of the pen at the right speed. There we go. You can see how that's just making it look like that bit of hair is just poking out a little bit more. Let's do something similar over the other side. We want to make it look like the hair is just poking out. So let's go just there, look. And then maybe one more time over here. Let's just get all of that in there. That kind of works. Let's carry on with these shadows though. So the other shadow is, we want to make the headband look a little bit thicker, so let's bring in like a shadow across the bottom here. Just thicken that line out. But as you get over to this side, because this side of the head is all hidden, you know, the light is coming in from this direction, so this side of the head we're not going to see much. Let's go and just go and whack a little line up there, look. Be brave with it. So we're kind of putting in some shadows one at a time. So we did the shadows that were being cast by the hair. We're also doing these shadows that are kind of being created because of the shape of the character. I think that looks alright. Just keep on tweaking it until you get it just right, until you're happy with how the shadow looks. Let's also put a shadow underneath this metal bit. We want to make it look like it's standing out a bit, so we do a little drop shadow. So just here, look, coming on the underside of it, and on the right hand side just there as well. You see how just by making that part of the line, just that bottom right part of the line just a little bit thicker, just brings it forward a little bit. And we will add some more little shapes, some more little lines on the inside of that in a little while, but that's good. That looks alright. Okay, but before we do any more outlining, I really want us to get this logo in on the inside of here, so that, because we are going to put a little tiny outline around that, a real thin outline using a real thin pen. So go and grab your deep grey again, this colour that we've used for the back of the headband. That's the colour I'm going to use for it anyway. And it's a tricky little logo, so work with me here. Okay, so we're going to start right in the middle. We're going to do like an @ symbol. We're going to go, or like a spiral. We're going to go out and bigger. So starting here now, as you start off, you want to be going left. Okay, so to start here, go left. We're going all the way around, all the way around again, till you get to that point. At that point, a little flick out there. Okay, so it's starting in the middle, going left, go all the way around until you get to this point. There's like 2 o'clock on a clock face point, and then a little line out. Down at the other corner, bring a little line out like that. See where I'm just peeling up a little bit of paint there, so you can see a bit of white showing through. Leave it to dry. If anything like that happens, just leave it to dry, get back to it a little bit later. Going to give it a second coat. Now it's a little bit drier. Give it a second coat so it's a little bit of a wonkier line. That looks okay now. Okay, that'll do. So there's your logo that we want to put on there. Try as best you can to get it in central. If it doesn't work out, if you haven't got it perfectly central, let it dry, go back over it with the white and the grey, and then have another stab at it. Okay, let's move down a little bit. We've done that. Let's go and work in the face next. So back with your 3M pen. First thing we'll do is let's go and put these little sideburns in, because they're nice and easy. Yeah. Also a nice little separator for where the hair and the face is, or the ear and the face is. So let's get those bits in there first. Should we go and work on the eye next? We'll do the eye that's open, and then we're going to have a huge leap of faith by doing the eye that's closed. We're going to do a line which I call a floater, because it's not connected to anything. I like, when I'm drawing, I like all my lines to kind of be connected to things. So I find it easier to draw, easier to teach drawing if we can say this line starts here and finishes here. Whereas this one's a floater, it just kind of floats in the middle there. So there is going to be a leap of faith with it, but I'm sure we'll be fine. Right, what we're going to do with this eye over this side, we're going to put a line all the way around from this point all the way around to the bottom here. Like that. But then what we're going to do is we're going to thicken that line out. So watch this. We're going to just start, either end still wants to be quite thin. But as you get to the center, the middle of that line, just have it nice and thick. And then as you come back to the other end, you want it getting thinner again. That's good. Carry on working with that eye. We are going to put some more details in this eye with a really thin pen, but we'll also get the bulk of the black lines done, the fat black lines done first. Let's go round the iris and go around it twice, yeah. Right in the center, let's put a pupil. Forget the two tones of colour that you've got, just concentrate on it being the center of the iris. Throw in a pupil, and then we'll finish off that eye with just one more little line going all the way across the bottom. Not all the way across, just kind of underlining the iris a little bit. So just here, look. That'll do. Like I say, more lines, more black lines to go in there later. But I think that looks okay to me. Now we're going to make this character be winking, so we're going to go and throw in a curve over on this side, okay? So this is what I mean about just kind of having that leap of faith. And what we'll do is we'll have a little line going from here into about there. But thicken it out a little bit. Let's go and thicken that line out. And maybe, in fact, what we'll do at the end there, we're going to use the thin pen, a real thin pen, to put in another little line at the end there. We are going to put a little wrinkle around the top as well, but that looks okay for the time being. That looks pretty nice. Nostrils we're going to use with a real thin pen as well, so forget about doing the nostrils. Let's go and work on the ears. So before we do the ears, we're just going to do a little line down here for the cheek, so that we can kind of build those ears into that line. So see this bit of hair we've got coming out here? Imagine that line kind of disappears, then comes back and goes into the cheek here. So from about there, look, disappears, comes back, goes into the cheek there. Same on this side. Once you've got that line in, it's going to make it a little bit easier, I think, to draw the ear in. So first thing we'll do, nice and easy, just go around the outside edge of the ear. Double line it. Remember that rule about the strong intersection, so where two lines join each other like in a T-junction, just there, look. Just want to make that just a tiny little bit thicker. Okay, random looking little ear then. Are you ready for this? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the earlobe around the top. So the earlobe around the top will go like this. Then as we bring that line down, this line here, as we bring that down, we're going to put in a little lump. So bring it down to about there. Add a little lump. Then we're going to go back up with this line and join it in about there. Crazy, right? Just go with it, it'll be fine. Let's double line all of that. So the end of that line, you want to keep it nice and thin. The bottom parts, we can make them chunky. Okay, let's work on the inner ear now. So we've got a little bit in here that we're going to bring like that. Little kind of hole bit in there. But then we're going to darken off the whole bottom bit. So just bring another line out to about there. Colour that in. I know, random looking little ear. Let's go and try and do something similar on the other side. So we'll double line it first. Remember that line to go around the earlobe. Give it a little earlobe around the top. As we come down, add that little bit of a lump in there. Then we're going to go back up. We're going to hook it in just underneath where we started, like that. Let's double line that, and don't forget we've got that opportunity to flick a line around, flick the pen off. Some stuff that just feels like a bit of a fat end. There you go, it's blended off a little bit. Bring it down, we put this small hole at the top, just there. And then we'll do a bigger hole, so just a little bit further down, just kind of going across there and down. All of this bit we'll colour in. That'll do. That's nice. Let's whip into the mouth next. Nice and easy across the top. We're just going to outline the outside of the mouth first. All the way around the bottom of the mouth. Like that. Again, we'll come back with the thin pen. We'll add a bit more detail to it. At the moment, just concentrate on just getting the bulky lines in there first. Okay, can I get a little bit, let me see if I can get a little bit closer. Here I can, just a tiny bit closer there. So what we're going to do now is, remember we put those grey bits in. We're going to go around the outside of the grey bit and the white bit. Okay, so make sure you go on the outside there. So about there and up. It's our top set of teeth in there. That'll work. Just going to put the bottom set of teeth in. So again, just making sure you go around the grey bit, around the teeth, around the grey bit again. Don't necessarily need to double line that too much because we're going to colour in some of the back there. Let's go around that tongue shape. And then these bits, once you come around the tongue, anything that's not coloured in there, we're just going to turn it black. Like I said, we'll come back to that. We'll add a little bit more finesse to that. Just tweak the shapes a little tiny bit. But that's pretty decent. That looks all right. Okay, let's keep on working. So up here around the face we have got those little bits of hair on the outside, so now we've done the actual face we can start doing some of these extra bits of hair over here. Look, these bits down here, remember, double line them, make them wonky, strong intersections. It's all the same kind of standard rules for, or my standard rules for doodling and really getting to enjoy your doodling is that double lining, strong intersections, wonky lines, those kind of things. We've outlined our hair. We're going to do the nostrils with a thin pen. I don't know if I said that. Hopefully I said that. And yeah, we will add the eyebrows on later. Just in case you didn't spot that, we do need to put some eyebrows on. Okay, you've got that. Let's move down a little bit more. Let's finish off this collar. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to just flick a few lines down. Let's outline the orange bits first. But then when we do the rest, we're just going to flick a few little lines down. I want it to be nice and subtle. These lines around the jacket. But yeah, have it coming up there, kind of a bit of a bounce to it up the top there. Going back down. And then, like I say, as we do the rest, we're just going to flick a little line down. We'll go over it probably with a thinner pen just to put some real thin lines in there. But just here, look, make sure you stick. Look at that. My pen leaked just a little bit just there. Never mind. Let's go a little bit thicker with that. So yeah, don't ever panic. If your pen does leak like that, don't panic about it. Just make those parts of the line a little bit thicker. You know, technically I know what I'm doing and it leaks with me. So you can see how I'm just kind of breaking those lines as they come down. Make sure they're on the right side of the shadow as well. Let's do the same on the other side, or something similar on the other side. So bringing it along. We've started with a certain thickness for these lines, so try and continue that thickness, knowing that we will come back in with a thinner pen to add a bit more finesse to it. Okay, let's zoom out on this, see how it's looking. This is where we're at so far. One little bit I've just definitely missed is that little bit there, top of the zip. Let's just whip something in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our thin pen. So I'm going to grab your 1M or 1MR, depending on what your preference is. I like a 1M because I can really feel what the pen is doing with me. But some people like a 1MR because it's a little bit smoother. And what we'll do, again, we'll start at the top, we'll work our way down. I've got a massive pool of paint there, so I'm going to be really careful not to smudge that. So if you've got that kind of thing, just you know, either let your artwork dry, pause the video, let your artwork dry, or grab a hairdryer, or just be careful to avoid it, which is my personal preference today. Okay, let's get back in. Let's start at the top and work our way down. First thing we're going to do with our thin pen, let's go and throw in some extra little lines in here. So don't think about it too much, just throw in some extra little lines. Make it look like our character's got a bit of you know, a bit more hair going on. What about over here? Let's go and put in little lines everywhere, just to kind of reinforce the direction of the hair as much as possible. There you go, I quite like those. That looks nice. The other thing we're going to do is just get into this little logo and badge area. We're going to put in a little thin line just here. Look. Break it off. Let's bring it over there. Maybe even a bit of a line going across there as well. Really broken line. We're just trying to make it look like there's a bit of an indentation. Up there as well. You see what I mean? And then let's our little logo that we've got in there, let's go and give that a bit of a shadow. So up here on the top left of all of these lines, that's mainly where we're going to put in shadows. There we go. Look at how that looks. Really nice. How it looks like it's just kind of indented, embossed in there a little bit, just by adding those shadows in specific places. Yeah, I really like that. Let's go and put some little bolts in. 1, 2, 3, and we'll probably just dig out a white pen to add a few little shiny bits in there. In fact, let's add those little drop shadows. So you remember how we did the drop shadow on there? We're just going to bottom right thicken out the line. Look, bottom right, thicken out the line. Thicker the line, the further it looks like it's sticking out. That looks nice. See what a difference that made. Couple of quote marks in there. Don't think about it too much, just chuck them in there. Alright, let's move down. We're going to go and work in the eyes next. So let's work left to right on this one. Apologies if you're left-handed, this might mess up. But from what my experience with left-handers is that they're very versatile when it comes to drawing. Because they have to be. But let's go and add a few more little details to this eye. So this one over here, let's just put a little tiny flick, make it a little tick just there. But also let's make it look like the eye is a bit more scrunched up. By adding a little crease there. Lovely. Over on the right hand side eye, there's a couple of lines that we're going to add in here, so you might want to just tidy up a few bits. If you've got a few rogue lines in there, you might want to tidy those up. We are just going to put in one line though that comes just there. This thin line, let's break the end of that a little bit. The rest of that is looking okay though. What about a few little flicks here and there in the hair here? Yep, that's decent. Nostrils. Let's go and put nostrils in. So you want to kind of position, see where the middle is, in between the eyes, in between the teeth. And then about here, we're just going to put two little curves. For some nostrils. Keep it really simple. That's the beautiful thing. And the worst thing about manga style is it's beautiful because it's simple, but it's awkward because it's simple. So it's like you've got to get things just in the right place, just the right size. So try that. Nothing too curvy. Just going to thicken out the middle bits. Don't forget, if you get it wrong, if it doesn't look right, let it dry, go back, fix it later. Let's go and work in the mouth next. So the mouth, there's quite a few extra little flicks here and there that we're going to put in the mouth. We're going to shape the teeth a little bit better, that kind of stuff. So let's go and do the flicks in the mouth first. So first of all, look, let's just get the shape of this mouth just right. So this line that comes around here, we're going to have a little flick in like that. Just that little tiny flick across the top, yeah? Do the same on the other side, or something similar on the other side. Let's go and shape those teeth, that top set of teeth, let's go and shape them a bit better. You want them to be kind of pointy down at the bottom. That's better. Make it a bit pointier over on the other side. That's better. But also, watch this, little tiny flick there and there. See how small that flick was, but really important. Again, it's that manga style of keeping things really simple, but getting them just right. Little tiny touches like that make all the difference. Up in the top, what we're going to do is just add a little shape like that. Just to kind of give the top of the teeth a little bit more shape. Really, really subtle, really small. Small as you can with that. And then down this bottom set of teeth, let's do a little flick either side. Just kind of reinforcing where the front teeth and the back teeth change. Let's do a flick from this side as well. Really small, nothing in there. Into the hair, we've got some extra bits of hair in here. Let's go and mess these up a little bit. Add some extra strands. Don't think about it too much, just chuck them in. It's not going to be a focal point. Nobody's going to be coming back to that. Down at the bottom, let's finish off the collar. So remember these lines that we flicked down, especially this one, because I managed to make it leak. Let's bring those lines down a little bit further. So now we've got our thin pen. Let's bring that broken line down a little bit further, like that. That middle bit of zip, let's make it look more like a zip. Little lines going left to right, or right to left, whatever's your preference, as long as they're horizontal. Little lines going all the way down. If you wanted to, you could zigzag that, make it look more like a zip. I like how that's looking. Let's go and chuck in some eyebrows on our character. So you remember And this is one of my favourite things about Posca pens, is that ability to be able to add things over the top. So this is what we're going to try and do here, is add some eyebrows. So let's have the eyebrows around about there. And around about there. You can just about see them. Doesn't matter that I've gone over into the black a little bit, because we can tidy that up later. It's all about just chucking it in, and we'll make it work. Don't panic about that. So whilst we're waiting for that to dry, there's a few other bits that we've got to do, but let's just wait for that to dry. Let's go around. Let's give our piece of artwork a bit of a power line. I'm going to go for a 3M white for my power line. So a nice thin power line today. What we'll do is we'll start around the top. And what I like about drawing on cardboard is leaving a bit of the cardboard showing through, but I give it a power line so people can distinguish between the foreground and the background. It gives your artwork a little bit more like a sticker quality. So there you go, just add this power line all the way around the outside. I never used to call it a power line. An artist I know called called it a power line when he did a workshop with me in the Korp Academy, and it was like, and it's just stuck ever since. Just sounds so much better than saying let's put a border around it. Let's give it a power line. Let's move down the bottom, carry on with that power line. Power line is generally the bit that you really want to pay most attention to. Take your time over it, because you're so close to finishing. This is not where you want to be making any mistakes. Don't want to build any pressure or anything, because it's just a bit of drawing, and pretty much every mistake you make with Posca pens is salvageable. Oops, that was off the camera, wasn't it there? Just went all the way down the bottom there as well. Yeah, it's pretty much all salvageable, so yeah, never panic if you do make any mistakes. Right, let's go and carry on the other side. Okay, last little bit. Normally I'd leave the power line right until the very end, but I'm more than happy to put that in now. We will go over some of those edges of the power line just to strengthen out some of those corners. I'll show you that in a second, but for the time being, let's go and sort out these eyebrows. So 3M or 1M, whatever is your preference for these, but let's go and outline these eyebrows. So we're going to bring it in. Bit of an outline like that. Then push it underneath the headband again. Same kind of thing on the other side. Double line it. Underneath can be a lot thicker. Push it underneath the headband again. Fab. Let's go back to your white. There's a couple more bits we want to do with that white pen. Make sure it's beautifully primed, nice and opaque. And we're going to put in some white reflections in the eyeball. This is one of the things that I always think just finishes off an artwork really, really nicely, is by putting these white reflections in. My preference is to have a big reflection up there, and then maybe a small one or two down there, like that. And for me, it just brings the whole thing alive by having those reflections in. One last little job then, just tidying up that power line. With your 1M, all we're doing is just going into all the edges, just making sure they're nice and sharp on the inside. So where you might have gone over the black border, just go back in, tidy them all up, sharpen them all out again. Look over here, look, there we go, that looks better. Because sometimes when you're doing this white power line, it does, especially if you're using a 5M, a fatter pen, because you need to get right in all the cracks, you sometimes lose some of those real sharp edges, so we want to bring those sharp edges back. So yeah, spend a few minutes tidying that up. The other thing is, grab your white again. Do you remember those little rivets, I guess, that we put in at the top here? Let's go and add a little reflection into those. So remember, the light source is coming in from this direction. So right in the top there, let's go and try and add in a little tiny reflection. Like that. What a difference that makes, yeah? And I think I am probably gonna leave it like that. I'm quite happy with that. So let's zoom out and see the finished piece. There we go. That's looking really nice. So yes, it's been something that people have been asking me to draw for a long time, is Naruto, but it's always been quite a difficult character to draw, so I've avoided it. But I'm glad I've had a go at it. I hope you've enjoyed having your go at it as well. Don't forget, if you want to post what you've done, go and upload it on social media. Use the hashtag #DoodleWithKorp so I can find it.